Elon Musk, tech CEO, self-proclaimed DOGE father. And for a while the man promising to fix the US government. His big idea, the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, as he insisted on calling it. The initial pitch? A cool $2 trillion in savings. $2 trillion. Taxpayers were practically promised refunds in solid gold. But then reality, like a Tesla with faulty brakes, came crashing in. The savings projection started shrinking faster than a polar bear's ice cap. First, it was down to $1 trillion. Still a hefty sum, right? But then, like a bad game of telephone, the final figure whispered through the halls of Congress, a measly $150 billion. That's less than 10% of the original promise. Looks like someone's math needs a software update. But hey, maybe $150 billion is still something to celebrate? Not so fast. Because as it turns out, DOGE wasn't just bad at math, it was bad at, well, pretty much everything. Turns out, efficiency and mass firings aren't quite the synonyms Musk thought they were. DOGE went on a firing spree, showing the door to thousands of government employees, scientists, engineers, the people who actually make sure the country runs, not just the Twitter feed. But here's the kicker, many of those fired? They were essential. So essential, in fact, that the government had to rehire them. At full pay, of course. Talk about adding insult to financial injury. It's like ordering a pizza, refusing delivery, then ordering the same pizza again and paying double. And the IRS? Oh boy, the IRS. Thanks to DOGE's streamlining, they're projected to collect $500 billion less this year. That's $500 billion. Gone! Poof! It's enough to make even a billionaire cry, or at least pretend to cry on Twitter. Remember those scientists we talked about? The ones who were fired and then rehired? Yeah, turns out they were kind of important. We're talking about the folks fighting bird flu, keeping our nuclear arsenal safe, and researching cures for diseases like HIV. Just your average everyday saving the world kind of stuff. But hey, who needs experts when you have disruptive innovation, right? Except, in this case, the only thing being disrupted was, well, everything. Because when you fire the people who know how to do their jobs, things tend to fall apart. And in some cases, falling apart could mean, a global pandemic or, nuclear annihilation. But hey, at least the government saved a few bucks on salaries, right? Except, oh wait, they didn't. Because they had to rehire all those experts anyway. Sued, and sued again. The legal bills pile up. Remember when your parents told you not to do things that will get you sued? Yeah, well, someone should have told that to DOGE, because it turns out that firing thousands of people, bungling essential government functions, and generally making a mess of things, tends to make people a little, shall we say, litigious. Over 200 lawsuits have been filed against DOGE. 200. That's enough lawsuits to fill a Tesla factory. And who's footing the bill for all those lawyers? That's right, the taxpayers. The very same taxpayers who were promised trillions in savings. So much for efficiency. It seems the only thing DOGE was efficient at was generating paperwork. And not the good kind of paperwork like, say, a cure for cancer. The bad kind of paperwork. The kind that ends with you owing a lot of money. Crazy Uncle Elon. Not exactly a term of endearment. Now you might be thinking, surely someone must have seen this train wreck coming, right? And you'd be right. Plenty of people within the government had their doubts about DOGE and its fearless leader. Word on the street is that even within the White House, Musk was affectionately known as Crazy Uncle Elon. The uncle who shows up to Thanksgiving in a rocket ship and tries to sell everyone on his plan to colonize Mars. And the public? Well, let's just say they weren't exactly throwing DOGE a parade. In fact, quite the opposite. Protests erupted across the country, with people demanding DOGE be abolished and Musk be sent back to, well, wherever it is billionaires come from. DOGE's legacy, a masterclass in how not to govern. So what's the takeaway from all this? Well, for starters, if someone promises you trillions of dollars in savings, maybe ask for a detailed financial plan. And maybe, just maybe, don't put a tech CEO in charge of fixing the government, especially if that tech CEO is known for making grand promises he can't keep. DOGE's legacy will be one of chaos, incompetence, and a whole lot of wasted taxpayer money. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power, the allure of Silicon Valley hype, and the importance of, actually knowing what you're doing before you try to fix something, especially if that something is the entire US government. In the end, DOGE wasn't just a failure. It was a colossal, epic facepalm of a failure. And the worst part? The American people are the ones left holding the bag, or more accurately, the empty treasury.